Yeah. I mean, it's just nuts to me. Crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, let's talk marketing. How can I help?
So I guess for me, and I don't know how it would help everyone else in the group too, but I just wanted to get an idea of the things that you're doing. I feel like I've been blessed with insurance because it's pretty stable,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think everyone's going to be affected eventually. The funky
Yeah.
thing with me and insurance is I don't get paid until a month after, so I really don't know what it's going to do to me yet,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Now,
my March
what lines
numbers,
of insurance are you in again? Are you PNC?
uh, yeah, PNC. I do everything except health insurance because I don't
Okay.
like it. I leave that to my buddy Sheldon.
Sheldon's a good guy to leave that to. He takes good care of people. Do you hear that,
Uh,
Sheldon? You better give a shout out right here in the comments if you're watching this, because I know you don't have anything else to say, Sheldon. Come on now. Sheldon's a stud.
yeah, but I guess as just in generals, I feel like for the people that can, right now is a good time to hit it because I think, I was talking with one of my buddies yesterday and today, and he was saying how really everyone's kind of pulling back, and the opposite I feel like is a little bit in my family because I've got a brother-in-law that's actually going out and buying stuff right now, right? He's buying businesses, he's buying. So I know it seems like the good time to act is actually, well, there's never a bad time to act, but there's benefits to acting when the market's down.
Well,
So
and let me give you some statistics just that we're seeing on our end from a digital media perspective. Social media usage right now, the most recent number that I saw was up about 60%.
oh,
And
because everyone's at home, you mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So people are on Facebook and on Instagram and on, doing Google searches. Kids are on Google more than they ever have been, right? Because now it's remote education. And so internet usage has gone up significantly, which means the attention on internet products or digital marketing products are up, the attention, but because so many businesses are pulling out their advertising dollars, the cost to acquire that attention is lower than it's ever been right now. I mean, it's cheap. Like
Yeah.
if you think about 60% increase in users and then a 30 to 40% cut in advertising costs with Facebook, 45% with Google, there's almost 100% swing in dollars of people that you're getting in front of, and the cost to acquire that's that much less expensive. So consider this, think about this, when you're talking about what can I do right now to go all in, um, there's a lot of things that are working really, really well. And then there's some things you just got to be patient in, right? I mean, the number one thing that I think most business owners are feeling the pain of right now is the fact that they've never positioned themselves as a person of authority in their business. It's been the business that's been the authority.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Sure.
they themselves, like for instance, furniture stores, right? The company itself is the brand. And as a byproduct, people don't necessarily feel as attached to the people inside the company as much as they should. And so when a market turns like this, people turn to relationships and say, I'm going to go buy from this restaurant or this company because it's my friends that own the company and because I'm attached to them or because they've created that dynamic relationship. So people are willing to spend and invest those dollars in each other that they have the relationship with. Those companies that haven't built that personal connection with someone inside of the organization, in my opinion, are going to be the ones that get beat up the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I can see it in my family's lives too. I mean, it's where we're going, and the places that we're not wanting to go under is where we're trying to go
That's
get
exactly
takeout.
right.
And
And that's
so,
where we're sharing, hey, go buy this and go do that. And that's the powerful thing about building a solid brand and telling a story and humanizing the brand is the fact that then you have that human connection and you feel much more of an affinity. And so even though right now we're in a downturn, right, where people and companies in general are struggling and pulling I mean, listen, dude, let's just be honest. Like we've lost almost a quarter of our business already in the
yeah,
first 14 days. And as a byproduct of that, we have to find ways to adapt and innovate like every single other company out there. We
sure.
have to find a way to brand ourselves and set ourselves apart as an agency that hopefully, hopefully we stay around for long enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, as an agency that it's here to help people. And I think you're in the same boat. So the question is, how do you really do that? Well, there's a really good book I know you like to read. I think I told you about this, Building Your Story Brand. Have you read that one
I
yet?
don't remember that one,
Hold
but
on, let me grab it.
I'm on my phone, so I'll have to just write it down. Building Your Story Brand.
This one right here, Building Your Story Brand. It's a book by a guy by the name of Donald Miller. And
hopefully it's on Audible.
It's on Audible. It is. I've listened to it like 3 times and read it like 4 times, and we teach it and we go through it. But one thing that's fascinating about this, let me see if I can find the diagram. One thing that's fascinating about this is it gives a pretty simple, straightforward, actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to throw it on my screen.
Okay.
I closed that window. Let me open it up. But he basically gives a pretty straightforward process of figuring out how to position yourself as an organization of authority, no matter the climate or no matter the market. And the idea and the concept is, and as I'm bringing this up, I'll share it with you, but the idea simply is that we have to first and foremost understand our target demographic, right? We need to know who is that customer that we're trying to get information in front of. Let me see if I can pull it up. How Google's even down right now.
Oh no!
Oh no, there it is. I got into the drive now.
It's the end of the world, really.
I know, really. Google crashes, Facebook crashes. We might actually go back to normal if both of those crash. Right? Without all the fake news and all the chaos, like we might actually go back to the store and there'll be toilet paper there for once.
Yeah. There's some country, I just barely read today, Sweden, did you see that? Did you read about it? They're just saying heck with it and they're just going business as usual. You'll have to speaking of Google, you have to Google it later.
Yeah, I'm going to Google that and send me
Switzerland. It's something over Europe somewhere.
Dude, that's the and what you know what's going to happen is their market's going to be stronger over the next year than anybody else.
It'll be super interesting to compare because I feel like it's still, a comparable. Obviously, they have less people, but it's still going to be comparable, right? If we compare America's numbers, America's unemployment to,
yeah.
Let me see if I can Google it.
Dude,
while you're looking it up here.
I saw that they had like 9.3 million unemployment claims in the last 14 days.
U.S.
Yeah.
Is that what we're up to? It's making me sick.
I don't. Ugh. That's pretty terrible. My computer's always a lot slower when.
Sweden. It's Sweden.
Of course it is. I guess Switzerland is always neutral, right?
Yeah, true. I'm gonna message you the link.
Okay.
To
give me the link. We'll look at it.
To your Facebook Messenger. It's on Forbes right now, and they're just telling.
Oh, there it is.
Everyone else, heck with it. I'm not that I am necessarily endorsing that idea, but man, I don't know.
It's a good idea. Not sure. It's a good idea considering how bad the market has tanked since the chaos and the pandemic came. I mean,
yeah, and just in a couple of weeks too. I mean,
yeah.
Well, and the thing that's depressing to me is that, like, one of my buddies I talked to yesterday owns a grooming business.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's to say who decided? But why is he not essential? Why is his family not important enough that he gets to keep going?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to me.
That's the hardest part about all of it, right? Is that you have these classifications of essential and non-essential, and those non-essential businesses are just getting, but they still have the same obligation to pay their mortgage or pay their rent and pay their business, their commercial rent. And it's like, it's really sad that we're all in a place where we feel like handcuffed, but that legit is where we are. Come on. I'm clicking on it. It's not coming up. Hold on.
The link, the Forbes link I sent you.
The presentation thing that I showed a lot of people.
Oh.
Let's see if I can do it this way. open with Google Slides. I swear people are hacking into my computer now. Just work, for crying out loud. Anyway, the basic idea behind, I'm going to move it on to a different screen so I can see if I can get it to work. The basic idea behind it is that you first and foremost, obviously, businesses have to understand the target demographic, the company, the people they're trying to get in front of. And once they understand the target demographic, then they need to recognize that those people have a problem. And they have not only a problem from an external problem perspective, but even more importantly, there's an internal problem that they're battling with, that they might be looking for a solution externally, but they're not recognizing that they're buying based on those internal buying triggers, right? Or the reason or the why, the purpose behind, as Simon Sinek would say, the reason why they're actually buying.
I love Simon Sinek.
Oh, so do I. Huge fan. So the dynamic is you have these customers, they have problems, external, internal, and philosophical. And where most organizations and companies for the last many years have tried to play more or less that hero role, right? They basically said, well, we want to fix your problem. We want to come and do this. We want to do that. We want to give you this weight loss pill, and all of a sudden everything's going to be great, right? The dynamic of connection and authenticity in the marketplace in terms of attaching yourself or people attaching themselves to a brand is that sheer dynamic. If someone is positioning themselves as a guide versus positioning themselves as a hero, that's when it changes, because there's a level of empathy and authority that are attached to the guide versus the hero, right?
Yeah.
So
no luck on your graph?
It's
okay. I guess that, and I want to, once we're done with our recording, I want to dig in with you a little bit on my business numbers and everything. But if there's, say, 3 tips that you have, free tips on things everyone should be doing right now, what would you summarize? What are 3 things that people aren't doing that they should be doing in a downturn?
I'm happy to share that, but Mike, I almost want to talk specifically about your business and get an idea of what you're doing, because I can share tips, but how people apply that to their own business normally isn't the same, smooth transition. So tell me a little bit about what are you doing right now? And the reason I share that idea about becoming the guide is I think one of the best places I think you can play, especially as a PNC person, is sharing valuable content that makes sense to your target demographic that's not about your business.
Well,
like you're doing with Entrepreneurs of Idaho.
Well, I guess I don't, in my mind, I don't even relate the two. It's more fun for me on Entrepreneurs of Idaho.
Well, but think about it. You're building yourself, you're building the group and giving value inside of the group and connecting people. And there's a huge value play.
Yeah. I guess I do think it's a good idea for people to do groups. For me, I've had 4 people from the group reach out to me and ask, so it's not even for me, I wouldn't even call it a moneymaker. It's just been fun. But I do think it's fun as far as networking goes. I think that's a important part to build that.
Well, think about this. And you asked the question, so what can I be doing? What can a business owner be doing today to, 3 points or 3 tips, or even connecting directly to what you're doing? You and Dustin and the other moderators, Stu and the crew inside of Entrepreneurs of Idaho, have built a really cool thing, because you're doing it and you're not in there trying to pitch your business, you're instantaneously building yourself as a guide, and people are looking for you as a resource to all things in connection with entrepreneurships, because you're branding yourself inadvertently as a guide to help people connect and build those relationships that they can take to build to the next level. That's one of the reasons, like what we've tried to do with our RiseCon events every year, is just bring people together.
Right.
We've done a brilliant job of it in the context of a group, and now the group is taking off and having authentic, real conversations, and business is happening because they're supporting each other. So first tip number 1 is, if you really understand who your target demographic is, which you do, right? People that are buying insurance, find a different way of providing value to them. Not in terms of, let me tell you all about the things that you should know about insurance. But let me share with you all the things that you need to know, and here are the people that you can connect with. If I can't be that resource, let me connect you to this person that can help you. I mean, I see you all the time and they're tagging people, hey, this person can help you with this, or this person can help you with that. So inadvertently, you're building yourself as a person of authority. And I think it's on purpose. I think you say that it's not on purpose, but it is. Building yourself as a
It was
person.
accidental. If something's happening, it's not on purpose.
Oh, but it intelligently, you're building that dynamic because I've got this slide up here. I'll show you here in just a second. But you're doing it intelligently because now when someone has a concern about insurance, you haven't shared anything hardly in the group in terms of insurance. But if someone has a concern, then someone else becomes a fan of yours and believes in what you're doing. And as a byproduct of that, say, hey, you need to talk to Mike about that. So you're
Right.
building a tribe, inadvertent. You're hiding. Just kidding. But you're inadvertently building this tribe of people that appreciate what you're doing because of the value you're playing. And again, you don't have to talk insurance. So step number one, I guess I would say, is find out how you can be a person of influence and value to those people in your community by finding a way to give back to them, right? And not about your business. This isn't a sales pitch like, oh, I'm great at digital marketing. Come and work with me. No. Listen, do what you can to provide the most value for the people that you're connected with, and you always win, right? Zig Ziglar said it. You can have everything you want in this life by helping enough other people get what they want.
Yep.
So let me show you, let me just share with you this little screen real quick. So that would be the first thing that I would share with you. And that kind of dials into, can you see my screen yet?
Not yet. It's thinking, but I don't know if that's my fault or Zoom's fault.
It's okay.
Oh, there it goes. I can see it.
So here's the diagram, right? You have this character that has that problem, internal, external, and philosophical. And I guess the other two things that I would mention, if you don't know who your target demographic is, don't try to be a guide to people that you don't know who your demographic is, right? Sure. Don't try to be a hero to everyone and save everyone in this world. Find out your niche, find out your people, your tribe, and engage with them. So customer character has a problem, and positioning yourself as a guide, and that guide in most cases leads to some sort of them, or just formulating or helping them create a plan and not establishing the plan for them.
Right.
Which will eventually lead to a call to action, and then that success will follow. So this framework, it's interesting because this story brand diagram framework was established by this Donald Miller, and he spent probably 15 or 20 years making movies in Hollywood. And he found out that this is the dynamic that created the box office top selling movies. This is the process and the strategy that was created. So fascinating, right? And just recognize that, you know, in your case, right, what are the internal, external, and philosophical pain points that people are struggling with right now? And how do you speak to those in a guide form? And let me give you some clarity in terms of the difference, right? External might be, and I really need to lose weight. If I need to find something that's going to help, I need to find a detox, or I need to find something that's going to help me lose weight. No, it's a terrible analogy, but it's an analogy nonetheless. Mm-hmm. The internal component might be, you know, I just need to feel healthy. I want to be able to spend time with my kids and go run with them and so on and so forth. And that, you know, that philosophical pain point might be everybody should be healthy. So if you can figure out the dynamic of internal, external, philosophical, and position yourself to answer those questions as a person, or become a person of authority by answering those questions, especially internal, then that's where, from my opinion, that's where people can win right now. And there's a lot of free things that can happen, right? Right now, especially Facebook Live is extremely powerful. Facebook groups are extremely powerful because people are congregating to those places because they have nothing better to do.
I mean, if you look at this, purely the statistics in our group, it's crazy in the last couple of weeks. I mean, everything's just skyrocketing. And we only started it in November. So our graph in general is up, but it's
just like exponential growth right now. Well, it's because people are trying to find other people to congregate with, commiserate with, and celebrate with, right? I mean,
Yep.
and we're all feeling the pain of how do we more effectively navigate this COVID-19 from a small business perspective. And, I found for me and, for you, Mike, as this might be something of use as well. We helped a company just the other day go live on a webinar. Never done it before. It was a healthcare facility and they were going to pull back all their marketing dollars. And we said, let's get creative. Let's get innovative. So we ended up in 2 days putting together a webinar. Shout out to Grand Peaks Medical and Lori Sessions. She was willing to do it. And I'm like, let's put a webinar on. Let's have one of your doctors talk about COVID-19 and what you guys are seeing. And we pulled it off and had 100 people watching the webinar in a day and a half. And then she was like, I got a text from her COO, Amy, and she's like, did you notice that there were 3 other medical professionals that did Facebook Lives after we did what we did? And I said, well, that's because everybody wants to provide value for the most part. They're not trying to bait and switch anybody because nobody can win in this game right now. I mean, there are some, but so I guess what the third or fourth point I would say, understand your target demographic, figure out what your customer pain points are, become a person of authority by sharing information that is valuable to them, not specifically about your business. But then that final one, and I think this is what you've done brilliantly inside of the group, is like care about people, like sincerely care and reach out and build strong relationships, because those relationships are going to go past this COVID-19.
Right.
But if you're taking advantage of people and if you're trying to sell your crap right now and bait and switch people, it'll come back to haunt you.
Sure.
Because you'll get the boot. And if you get booted out of Entrepreneurs of Idaho, don't come back.
You're not coming back.
You're getting blocked forever. But for your business, Mike, I would say right now, I mean, and you've got a good head on your shoulder. You have a good idea of what's happening in the marketplace. There's a lot of people that are connected to you that are feeling uneasy and a sense of uneasiness and lack of peace in their life. Like, speak peace into them, right? Figure out a way to share you come across as one of those guys that come hell or high water, you're going to be positive about life.
It's my mom's fault.
Yeah. So that optimism is contagious, and that's what you've got to do. Even if you're not talking about business. Like, did I lose you?
Yeah. Sorry. Someone was calling me.
That's okay.
Back.
But get on Facebook Live. It's not comfortable, but do you know how many people you'll bless because of the words that you're speaking? I hate doing Facebook Live events.
Yeah.
I hate it. You know what? But I do it because every time I do one, someone reaches out to me and says, you know what? Thank you for the words. I needed to hear that.
Sure.
And in a world right now where I'm hearing that there's people taking their own lives because they don't know where to go or what to do. Like, we have to come together and come together as business owners and come together as human beings and take care of each other and talk positive with each other and find ways to celebrate the small, minor, tender mercies that we receive, even though you might be scratching for them in any given day. Right.
Sure.
And that's what, I guess, if you can establish yourself and as a business owner, whoever's listening to this, like, we're going to be okay first and foremost, but just reach out to people. Let them know that you're there and that you care about them. Even your customers. You're going to have customers that cancel. You're going to have people that want to close their doors. Like, just let them know it's okay.
Right.
There's businesses that fail every day, not because of COVID-19. And it doesn't make those individuals that had to shut their doors, it doesn't make them terrible human beings. They're just like you and me. And if they have to close the doors because of this, support them in whatever next venture they go into, right? Be a friend to them and cheer them on and whatever that looks like, because, God, for crying out loud, that's all we can do, man. That's all we can do.
Great points. I think that's a great point to end it on, Ryan.
Okay, dude. We'll talk more. Let's get your numbers up one of these days.
Okay.
And let's dialogue through it. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Friday. I can't wait for the weekend. It's going to be an incredible weekend. I can't wait. See you, man.